The reason for the liberal welfare reforms is issue 4, where poverty was becoming a problem even more. Booth and Rowntree's poverty reports is factor 1, the most important factor, according to some. They carried out surveys which revealed that in terms of people living in poverty, the statistic was 30%. It was also impossible for those people to pull themselves out of poverty, as they didn't have a spare cent. It was revealed that their situation was out with their control, which proved that the intervention from the state was necessary to pull them out of this hellhole. The surveys completed in London and York revealed that poverty was caused by old age, illness and low wages. Given that these were carried out in opposite ends of the country proved it had been a problem for ages. However, it could be argued by the affluent few that if you were in poverty, it was definitely caused by you. The issue of national security is factor 2, where fears over Britain's ability to protect herself grew and grew. Over 25% of recruits were rejected from the Boer War, which meant the problem really had gone too far. If Britain was unable to protect herself if war came to a head, then it's fair to say Britain's mighty empire would very soon be dead. The minimum height for the army had to be dropped to 5'2", which was concerning considering Germany and France were building up their armies, to name a few. Britain was feeling threatened and weak. A devastating attack would definitely be bleak. However, it could be argued that 75% of the army were fighting fit, so with national security the government didn't really have to worry one bit. The issue of national efficiency is factor 3. Britain was facing serious industrial competition from Germany. Germany had been providing her workers with benefits for a number of years. The positive impact this had on the German workforce was one of Britain's fears. Britain's position as the workforce of the world was under threat, something the government didn't like, I'll bet. The British workforce was lacking in energy, with the impact on production levels very clear to see. However, Britain did still have her huge empire to trade with, which was doing very well, so the concerns over national efficiency weren't likely to swell. The challenge from the Labour Party is factor 4, where the Liberals were concerned about the growth of the Labour Party more and more. The Liberals had lost 3 seats to Labour in a by-election. The Liberals were facing the impact of their party's rejection. It was clear that the working class voters were attracted to Labour's idea of a welfare state. Given how quickly Liberal voters were turning to Labour, their policies would have to change at quite a rate. However, party advantage was not at the forefront of everyone's mind. Liberal politicians like Winston Churchill generally wanted to be kind. He knew that the government had a duty to protect the poor. In fact, he was determined to use his position to be their saviour. New liberalism is factor 5. This is where we see genuine concern for the poor come alive. A new generation of politicians believed they had a duty to help those in need, so they set about passing liberal reforms at great speed. Churchill and David Lloyd George felt the old, the young, the sick and the unemployed needed reform. They wanted the government helping the poor to be the norm. However, had it not been for the reforms of Booth and Rowntree, we would never have known why the poor continually faced poverty. Churchill and Lloyd George were paying for these reforms by taxing the rich, therefore they needed hard solid evidence to make their pitch. Municipal socialism is factor 6, where evidence of successful government intervention had been collected out in the sticks. In Birmingham, the mayor had made various improvements to the city using money from taxing the rich. This had been a very successful issue and had gone off without a hitch. It proved that government intervention could be a success, so national government intervention would be the issue to press. However, would these reforms be successful nationally? The decision to implement them would have to be done rationally. So to conclude, we must decide the most important reason for the liberal reforms, where government intervention to help the poor would become the norm. The fears over national security were important, but not the most important one, but there were serious concerns about Britain's ability to protect herself in a war situation, according to some. The least important factor has got to be municipal socialism, as this was met with serious cynicism. These reforms had worked on a small scale, so there was genuine fear that nationally these reforms would fail. The most important factor has to be the surveys of Booth and Rowntree. I'm sure you'll all agree. Their surveys proved that poverty was an issue and not the fault of the individual, as you'll see. With this hard evidence to hand, with the issue of welfare reforms, these men could now make a stand.